This is Sweetcast. I'm Clint.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we've got a news article here. What do you got, Steph?
So it's a news article that came out in the New York Times. It was September 5th when it came out. It is called, "I Am Part of the Resistance Inside the Trump Administration." It is an opinion article.
So first off, I'm kind of excited. So Steph's told me a little bit about this, but I'm excited just by what she told me, and we're going to save it as we go through it. But this is by an anonymous person.
Yes, it's anonymous. They did not want to say their name in fear of losing their job or anything like that.
But they were okay with writing an article to the New York Times.
And I guess the New York Times felt it was very important, so they took the article despite the fact that it was anonymous.
So this could be like a 18-year-old guy from Minnesota that's writing this, and we wouldn't know.
But in the article, this person claims to be inside the Trump administration.
Okay. So
working for the president.
Any idea what they're doing for the Trump administration?
It doesn't say what they are doing. I keep saying he, but it could be a woman as well. But it says that, quote, "I work for the president, but like-minded colleagues and I have vowed to thwart parts of his agenda and his worst inclinations." End quote.
That basically could count as anybody with a differing opinion, I guess. I don't know. I'm not exactly a huge Trump fan, but stuff like this is just obnoxious to me.
Well, as I was reading the article, I kind of scanned over it quickly because I was curious what they were exactly doing to be part of this resistance. And
so let me guess. They're making Molotov cocktails. They're going to burn down the White House, assassinate the president, right? The resistance.
You would think that. But no, it doesn't really say anything specific that they are doing. It pretty much just bashes on the president the entire time, I feel like.
So far, the act of resistance has been just to write an op-ed saying that they're in the resistance. No, does anybody see the irony in this? I mean, like, what?
Well, let's go over some of the things that they discussed, because I guess actually it did later on in the article. It talked about one thing. We'll get to it though.
Okay.
So to start, the dilemma, which he does not fully grasp, he meaning the president, is that many of the senior officials in his own administration are working diligently from within to frustrate parts of his agenda and his worst inclinations. So that's kind of the beginning. And he says, "I would know, I am one of them." So you think, oh, they're doing something to
thwart his administration. So, well, and it said some parts, right? So I'd be curious.
To frustrate parts of his agenda.
Parts. So, I mean, literally, you could have said the same thing about Congress when Obama was president. The Tea Party, or any Republican in Congress was doing their best to thwart. I guess that's politics, right? That's how it works. So I don't know. When I hear resistance, I'm expecting something nefarious. Anyway, so let's read on.
So pretty much says that many Trump appointees have vowed to do what we can to preserve our democratic institutions while thwarting Mr. Trump's more misguided impulses until he is out of office. It talks about how he... Oh, I need to find it. He... Hold on a minute. Let me find it.
So they're thwarting it. They could his impulses. So why have they not taken away his Twitter account? Is what I'm wondering, because that
would be considered an impulse. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Or maybe talking to world leaders. Like, I would think that would be helping the president, not thwarting.
This is a quote they got from a top official, said that there's literally no telling whether he might change his mind from one minute to the next. Meetings with him veer off topic and off the rails. He engages in repetitive rants, and his impulsiveness results in half-baked, ill-informed, and occasionally reckless decisions that have to be walked back.
So in this...
And I don't know what they're doing to thwart that.
Right. So this is a top official, not the the resistance leader here, but they're quoting, New York Times is quoting another official that's basically telling us what we already know about Donald Trump.
We already know that he engages in repetitive rants. Look at his Twitter account, right?
I mean, he's been on TV for years. You could watch, anything. So, I mean, so the resistance, but what are they... I think of like the French resistance.
The entire time, it pretty much talks about Trump's personality, about how he is kind of a crazy person when it comes to making decisions or going off rails or making ill-informed decisions. Like it just pretty much talks in the whole entire thing about his personality, not what they're doing to actually thwart.
But what a hero, though. I mean, whoever this resistance leader is, I mean, where were they when Hitler was around? If we had someone like that to write an op-ed, that would have somehow stopped the Holocaust, I'm sure. What else do you got, Steph?
So this is the only specific thing that I found in there, and it just talked about something that the public already knows about his foreign policy, about how Trump shows a preference for autocrats and dictators such as President Vladimir Putin of Russia and North Korea's leader. I'm going to mess up his name, Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un.
Jong-un, yeah.
So,
and displays little genuine appreciation for the ties that bind us to allied like-minded nations. And again, that's an opinion, but it's something that the public already knows about him and Russia and...
I mean, I think that those are legitimate criticisms about Trump. It is strange that he's so buddy-buddy with... And I mean, maybe he has a strategy. I understand there's a lot of Trump supporters out there that, believe that Trump is a mastermind and he knows exactly what he's doing. You know what? I hope that that's true. I honestly do. But these are, I think they're valid criticisms of Trump's foreign policy. But what is this resistance doing to change anything?
Again, he just says, he, meaning... Well, I guess I'll start at the beginning. On Russia, for instance, the president was reluctant to expel so many of Mr. Putin's spies as punishment for the poisoning of a former Russian spy in Britain. He complained for weeks about senior staff members letting him get boxed into further confrontation with Russia, and he expressed frustration that the United States continued to impose sanctions on the country for its malign behavior. Again, he's just listing things that Trump has done, but what is he doing to thwart those things? What is he doing to resist it? It doesn't actually ever say what he's doing.
So it makes me wonder, if you were, let's say you were inside of the Trump administration and you wanted to stop it, start a resistance even, what would you do? Would you, what's exactly the plan? It doesn't really make sense to me.
He says, given the instability many witnessed, there were early whispers within the cabinet of invoking the 25th Amendment, which would start a complex process for removing the president, but no one wanted to precipitate a constitutional crisis. And then this is what he says, so we will do what we can to steer the administration in the right direction until, one way or another, it's over. Again, he never actually comes out and says what he's doing. They're just trying to steer the administration in the right direction until it's all over.
Until they can evoke the 25th Amendment. So here's the thing, though. It's almost, I think of you remember that episode of The Office where, what's her name? Meredith has a drinking problem, right? So Michael Scott, rather than, help her, he decides he's got to push her all the way rock bottom, right? Maybe that would be a better strategy. Instead of steering President Trump in the right direction, couldn't the resistance encourage bad behavior so therefore they can evoke the 25th Amendment, help him hit rock bottom? There's a strategy.
There you go. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, but he never actually comes right out and says what he's doing to thwart it. The bigger concern is not what Mr. Trump has done to the presidency, but rather what we as a nation have allowed him to do to us. We have sunk low with him and allowed our discourse to be stripped of civility. Again, that's his opinion. I just don't see where the resistance is coming in.
Yeah, and I think this is an example of the New York Times and a lot of the media grasping at straws. People have criticisms of Donald Trump. Some of them are ridiculous. Some of them are legitimate. And I think if there's legitimate, disagreements with policy or the way that he presents himself as president. I mean, that's okay. But evoking the 25th Amendment, I'm just not sure that it's there. I'm not sure what this resistance leader is hoping to gain.
I feel like he's trying to convince other people, like he's trying to persuade people to, well, actually he quotes Senator John McCain in his farewell letter that all Americans should heed his words and break free of the tribalism trap with the high aim of uniting through our shared values and love of this great nation. I feel like they're just trying to persuade people to get on their side to invoke the 25th Amendment, I guess. That's what it sounds like to me. He's just trying to state his opinion about how Trump's awful and he's, crazy and does all these things that are one way and then changes his mind the other, and he's just trying to persuade people to get on his side.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
So,
maybe that's his resistance.
Yeah.
Persuasion.
Again, I wonder, does the New York Times know who this source is, or are they anonymous to the New York Times?
I'm not sure if the New York Times knows who they are or not.
Because this has been a problem with unnamed sources in the media. It'd be, I don't know.
Oh, it does. It does say whose identity is known to us and whose job would be jeopardized by its disclosure. So the New York Times does know this person. It is a senior official in the Trump administration whose identity is known. And then, yeah.
Okay.
So we don't know who it is, but the New York Times does.
So let's assume that let's give the New York Times the benefit of the doubt. They've really got the person here, a senior leader. Now this has been published. What do you think Trump's going to do? Now that he reads this, he's going to clean house. I wish I could remember, but where I heard this from, it talked about what Trump was doing, but can't completely remember what they said. Did you hear about this?
I feel like he was like saying, yeah, good for them, voicing their opinion or something. I think that's kind of what it came across when I heard about what Trump was doing about it.
Was this on Instagram that you heard
Yes,
about?
it was on Instagram.
What's the Instagram channel?
It's called Minute with Mads. She does a great job. Just a minute every day. She just kind of gives updates on what's happening in the world, news, good stuff, bad stuff, political stuff, not political stuff.
Okay.
That's where I heard about it.
Very cool. Well, I think, I don't know, I still don't know exactly what to think about this news article, but we're wondering what you all might think. Leave us a comment. Let us know. What do you think Trump's next move is, or what do you think the resistance, what do you think they should be doing, or what the next move might be? I am interested to see how this unfolds politically.
So again, it's called I Am Part of the Resistance Inside the Trump Administration. If you want to look that up, it's in the New York Times.
See you next time.
Bye.